What's up? How you guys doing? It's Luke Monger. This is a knife that has made it around the block 3 or 4 times. This was originally, they Benchmade had the 610 Ruckus, right? They made a mini Ruckus, which this is basically its push button automatic version. And they took that from the Benchmade line and put it into the Harley-Davidson line, right? And they had the Harley-Davidson Nonconformist, which was basically this exact same knife. Benchmade stopped manufacturing Harley-Davidson knives. They took this design, and now we have the H&K Entourage. This is not an Entourage. This is an H&K MP5, excuse me. That's an Entourage. 154 cm steel blade. I love that blade shape. Look at that, is one of the best just drop point blade designs ever. It's almost like a spear point, you know what I mean? It's almost comes into that symmetrical, you know what I mean? But it's just got a little bit of belly on the cutting edge. I mean, it's just a little bit fatter on the cutting edge. So you have the penetration capability for this knife is outstanding. It does have some slashing potential. Obviously, this is more for defensive knife service. Police is probably going to do really well. I imagine this thing's really comfortable with gloves on. It's very comfortable in the hand without gloves on. It fits my hand just really. It's not the most comfortable thing, honestly, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to want to do hard work with it. This is not a knife that I'm going to pull out to carve a piece of wood with, but it's very secure. It feels good in the fact that there's no motion anywhere, you know what I mean? It is locked into my hand. You can see the way that my fingers actually fall onto the frame there, and since it's got a flat back, it's a relatively flat back, I can force it into my hand, which leads to that uncomfortable feeling, you know what I mean? It's not radiused, it doesn't have, you know what I mean, it's not cushioning in my hand, but it's just rock solid. It is not going anywhere. So the purposeful ergonomics is very, you know what I mean, is great. I like that. I like the you notice how they did it's like jimping, I guess, all the way around that backspacer there, which actually turns into a skull crusher. Haha. It's got a little pommel extension on it, which is great due to the fact that this thing has a relatively long handle, and I mean that little pommel extension right there is a deadly ass weapon. That's pretty good. In the reverse grip, it doesn't feel as secure in the reverse grip, but still, I mean, I imagine it's not going to go anywhere. It is. And that jimping really doesn't do anything because you can see where my thumb lies. To actually utilize that jimping, I have to pull my thumb so far back. My thumb wants to sit all the way up and wrap around right here. So this is how I would, if I was going to come down in, any sort of penetrating strike, which is probably not something I would ever do with this knife, but I would wrap my hand around it, but in doing that it would probably damage my thumb. It is not comfortable. That hurts right there. You know what I mean? That hurts, that little joint right there in my thumb. So it would do some damage to my thumb, but this, you know what I mean, that's obviously probably how I would hold it if I ever did that. I'm not going to. This isn't something I use all of the time. I've been carrying it around the house the last few days. I don't like to carry automatics. They're illegal to carry where I'm at. So it's more just a toy. I have been using it EDC. I change up my knives like, you know what I mean, like a really stereotypical, like, pop girl or something like that changes her clothing. I get home, I change my knives. I stop in for lunch, I change my knives. So I slip this one in my pocket when I'm at home. If I'm sitting on the couch, I want something to play with. And this is the snap that this knife has. You can see that opening and listen to it. It's loud. It's very authoritative. It's got a very good deployment. That spring in there, it's got some great tension. I'll just put a couple fingers on it so you can see the actual kick of this blade here coming out. I mean, it's definitely more respectable than the H&K. This H&K, this Entourage, excuse me. The Entourage comes out decently well, but it doesn't have nearly the kick. You can hear the same in the sound. It's just a lot slower of a deployment. This feels better in the hand. Probably not nearly as secure, but it is more comfortable in the hand. However, this is just a little fighting knife. It's I mean, it's going to perform very well for utility tasks. I mean, if somebody's going to buy this for the EDC blade, it's going to work really well just on the fact that you've got so much belly and so much, straight section on that blade there. So the cutting ability is great. I like the way that that's one thing, right? I like the way that H&K, well, it's Benchmade, obviously, but the way that the plunge grind is done. You can see this sharpening choil. Here's just a little flat section on the blade, the way that comes up, and then there's an extension. So the plunge grind does come a little bit too far. It is a little bit too far back. It does widen up that cutting edge just a fraction, just a little fraction of, it's not enough to actually affect anything. But I really like the way that they've done these sharpening choils on the automatics. There's just a consistency to it. Deep carry, excuse me, not deep carry pocket clip. It's the standard Benchmade clip, except it's got H&K printed on it. The texturing it's that anodized aluminum. You know what I mean? If you're familiar with it, it's the same for a lot of the H&K knives, a lot of the Benchmade black anodization. It all feels kind of the same on these aluminum handles, but it offers a good traction as well as just a very durable finish. You can see, I mean, this thing's been beaten up on my keys for a while now, and it's got some scratches on it. You know what I mean? It's underneath the pocket clip there. You can see, you know what I mean? It is beat up a little bit, but on the blade here, as well as the coating on the blade, you can see there's a little bit on the actual transition. I've got some wear on the actual transition, but the flat section on the actual blade and right behind the cutting edge, there's a little bit right, up in this area here, but up on the belly, there's really nothing to speak of as far as blade wear. That just shows actually how much I've used this knife, which isn't an extensive amount. I've opened and closed this knife so many times. It's just so much fun to do. Like, bop, the thing slides, it flies out, because when I open it, I'll actually have it sitting, I have the back of the blade sitting up against my palm right there. You see that? And when I open the knife, it gets kicked off. You see, it gets kicked off my hand. It's fun. Yeah. There's like a, knife guys, a lot of people who are into self-defense like to pretend that Second Amendment advocates like to pretend that a push-button automatic is the exact same as like an assisted knife, or this is actually a de-assisted barrage, but it's really not. It's definitely not enough to make it illegal. The fact that it's illegal is retarded. However, it is a lot easier to actuate than something like an assisted knife or general thumb stud. So I definitely am a fan of the automatic. I wish I could carry it. The fact that they're illegal because it's automatic is stupid, because for all intensive purposes there really isn't a difference. But just as far as aesthetic please, it is a little bit easier to open this thing, and it's just so much fun to do. It slams itself out. It's got the Benchmade's been throwing these on a lot of their knives, that hexagonal pivot there. I don't know how I quite feel about that, except, I do like the fact that it's on an automatic, because this thing's slamming itself open, and that blade, it's got a decent blade length, so the blade isn't too heavy, but there's still a lot of momentum coming back, and as strong as that spring is, I do imagine that at some point, there's got to be some play developing somewhere in here, whether it's on the button or the actual stopping pin itself. There's going to be something in this mechanism that's going to give a little bit of leeway, so having that ability to adjust that stop pin is really nice. I don't know if I'm ever going to do it. I've got that on a few of my knives. A few of the Benchmades that I own have that little hexagonal stopping pin. You can see it here on the H&K Entourage as well. But I've never actually used it. I kind of want to. I hope one of my blades comes with, get some lock rock at some point so that I can actually utilize that, see how it works. I want to know if it works as well as it seems like it would. There is some information on there, some people online doing it in some videos, but you never can experience, you never get anything proper until you really experience it yourself. Videos help. Outside information definitely helps, but I want one of my knives to crap out. Come on. The safety is great. I want one of my knives to crap out. Did I really just say that? But it's true. That's a strange thing. Safety is interesting. Plunge lock safety, you can see it engaged there on the inside. Disengage, engage, and disengage. It's just a little plate, stops the actual button from being depressed. The button is protruding quite a bit. You can see that there, how much it actually protrudes off of the frame, but it's got to be fully recessed into the actual, see, you can see it here until it actually deploys, but it's got to be fully recessed, flush fit with the base of that actual recession, right? So putting it on the table and pushing down, you can hear that button engage, right? You can hear it. That's how far down it goes. You can see, so it is depressed. I'll push once I push this blade back up in, it's going to relieve that tension, the button will pop back out. You see that? So you can see how much it actually does get depressed from that there, but you still have to have that little extra bit of travel, that little 1/8 of an inch extra bit of travel to actually deploy the blade. So it's an excellently designed little plunge mechanism here. It is relatively safe. I mean, even though you do have a safety on it, even though you're just carrying it in your pocket, otherwise it is definitely a safe mechanism. You can see the jimping here, how they've done that. It's just fantastic. That little, it's not a thumb wrap, it's like a thumb stopper. You know what I mean? It's a straight up little 90-degree bend. And again, it doesn't make it the most comfortable. It's like pulling my thumb back, but it stops my thumb so well. I've got basically no risk of slipping up onto that, up over that little lump there on the back. And it's the same thing with the jimping down here on the interior section. You can see it's not very deep. It could have been cut a little bit deeper, but it's still square. It's not rounded off. So it is still very purposeful. You can see here on the pinky swell to stop from any sort of retracting motion. You've got that protection. You're not going to slip off. So it's definitely a very securely designed knife. I think that's probably why they've carried this model through so many different companies and so many different versions of the same knife. You know what I mean? The original Ruckus was huge. The original Ruckus is one of my grail knives. The 610 Ruckus is one of the knives I will have. It's a collector's item. You know, people pay crazy amounts for it, but I mean, it was like this freaking long. It's a big old knife. The Mini Ruckus has been done over and over again. The 2015 SHOT Show model was a Mini Ruckus in green G10, which I'm probably going to be picking up because they have one at the store, but it's like $310, man. Well, he's got it marked up for like $4 something, but I'm going to be able to get it for $310, and there's so many other knives that I can have and I can use and I can actually take out and beat up on, and you know what I mean, that I could get for that $310. You know, if I buy that Mini Ruckus, I'm going to stick it in the safe and play with it every once in a while, ogle at it, you know. But I still want it. Yep. Rambling enough here. It's H&K MP5. Another little note, I'll keep on rambling. If you Google the H&K MP5, which I did, and did not connect the fact of the carbine, you know what I mean, the MP5 carbine, that did not come across in my head. I Googled the H&K MP5 and was a little bit upset when this knife didn't pop up. There's some retardation for you. Y'all have a good one.